Well, folks, it is a Friday, and my staff told me that it was mandatory that I watch what will probably win Best Picture this year. You know, I try to keep abreast of the various movies that are nominated for Best Picture, even though there hasn't been a solid Best Picture winner in the Oscars for years and years and years at this point. I'm trying to remember the last solid Best Picture winner. It's been a while. This year, the frontrunner is, believe it or not, a movie called Emilia Pérez. This movie was nominated for 10 Golden Globes. It won 4. It is one of the worst movies ever made. It is one of the worst. It won Best Musical over Wicked. Now, you know my feelings on the movie of Wicked. I thought it was pretty good. And I like the musical of Wicked. At least the music is good and interesting. This thing is horrible in every way it is possible for it to be horrible. So I'm going to try and break down this review into a few categories. First, we're going to go through the actual movie, the plot. We'll go through the performances. We'll go through it's a musical. It's a musical. And then we'll get to the blowback. So let me first explain the premise of this unbelievably stupid, insulting, and morally vacuous film. So the premise of this film is that there is a gangland drug leader who is played by a person named Carla Sofia Gascon. Now, Carla Sofia Gascon is a trans woman, which is to say a man. In fact, Carla Sofia Gascon in real life identified as a male until the age of, I believe, 46 years old. And then at the age of 46 in 2018, decided that he was, in fact, a she, and decided to go through all of the various surgeries to make him look more like a her, I would say rather unsuccessfully. In this particular story, Carla Sofia Gascon plays, at the beginning of the film, a Mexican drug lord, like head of a deadly drug cartel, who decides that it's not just that he wants to disappear and to enjoy his wealth. He wants to disappear and become a woman. He's always wanted to be a woman. The lawyer he ropes into this scheme is played by Zoe Saldana, who is playing a person named Rita Mora Castro. That's the lawyer in this particular film. And she is going to be helping the newly named Emilia Pérez become a woman. And now there are complications that ensue. Okay, so the basic plot of the film is reliant on one essential feeling about life. And if you don't buy into this feeling, the entire movie is actually quite evil. That feeling is, if you cut off your balls, this makes you a better person. That is the basic premise of the film. The basic premise of the film is, if you take a genocidally murderous drug lord, and this person wants to feel like a woman inside, and so gets a bunch of surgeries and hormone treatments, when that person emerges on the other side, that person is to be treated as a feminist saint. Otherwise, none of the movie works, and the whole thing becomes rather sinister. Now, you may be saying to yourself, this thing plays like a comedy, and here's the thing, it kind of does. If you watch the film as a comedy, it is uproariously funny. None of it follows. It makes no sense. All the things that are supposed to be serious are hilarious. It is one of the most ridiculous things ever filmed, truly. So, just to give you the basic plot outline, again, drug lord decides to become woman. This drug lord is married to Jessie Del Monte, played by Selena Gomez, legitimately one of the worst actresses alive. I mean, truly cannot act her way out of a paper bag. Inanimate objects have more affect than Selena Gomez. She's awful in literally everything. Okay, so you got the lawyer who's facilitating the transition and post-transition life. You have the drug lord, who is a man who wants to become a woman. You have the drug lord's wife, played by Selena Gomez. You have later the now transgender woman's lover, a person named Epifania Flores, played by Adriana Paz. Hey, so, just to spell out how the movie goes, this person goes and gets a transition. The wife and 2 children, who this person is abandoning to have a removal, they move to Switzerland with the drug lord's money. 4 years later, the drug lord, now a transgender woman, approaches the lawyer and says, I would like to get in touch with my kids again. And so I'm going to be pretending to be my own cousin living in Mexico. I'm going to pay my ex-wife and the kids, the wife thinks he's dead at this point, to come live with me in Mexico. Complications ensue because it turns out that the wife has a lover. And not only that, so does Emilia Pérez. He, now a she, falls in love with a woman. All of this comes as Zoe Saldana's character, the lawyer, and Emilia Pérez decide that not only is it time for Emilia Pérez to return to Mexico as a woman, it is time for Emilia Pérez to become an extraordinarily high-scale public figure whose job it is to uncover all of the bodies of people murdered by drug cartels. At no point, by the way, does this drug cartel leader actually apologize to anyone for having, murdered humans. Instead, this person just traipses around explaining that it's very, very bad to kill people and bury their bodies in unnamed places and such. By the end of the film, the drug cartel leader and his ex-wife have died in a car crash, and the children now belong to the lawyer. If you follow all of that, then congratulations to you. Either you have a screw loose or you are great at following absolutely nonsensical plots. Now, this is all accompanied by some of the worst music and some of the worst performances you have ever seen in a film. Truly awful stuff. Really, really awful stuff. So let's go through that. Because in a musical, the music should be good, But in this musical, the music is just absolute sheer unmitigated horse. It's just awful. It was written by a person named Camille, a French singer, and Clément Ducrot, a French film composer. It's absolutely horrifyingly bad. Let me give you some examples. So, as we say, Zoe Saldana's character, who makes no sense, by the way, she's a lawyer who's supposed to be, I guess, a good, nice person, but she's introduced in the film defending a wife murderer and taking $2 million to help a drug cartel leader become a woman, but is supposed to be the moral center of the film, which makes no sense at all. In any case, Zoe Saldana is tasked by Emilia Pérez to go find out about transition surgeries and what they mean. Here is some of this musical number. It's so bad you will want to drill into your own ear hole using an electric saw. Here we go.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina. Is it for you?
For me?
What would you like to know about it, madam?
I want to know it all. What is the protocol, the techniques and the risks? How many operations? How much time do you need?
Mammoplasty.
Yes.
Vaginoplasty.
Yes.
Rhinoplasty.
Yes.
Laryngoplasty.
Yes.
This is a thing that's happening in your life right now.
Yes.
Just don't try to fight it.
Yes.
Just soak it in.
Yes.
Control laryngoplasty.
What is that?
Adam's apple reduction.
Yes.
I guess. Oh my God. Oh, good Lord. And it's all creepily staged. So you have people who have bandages all over their faces and bodies being wheeled around. By the way, worst hospital ever. Gotta say, terrible hospital. No patient privacy happening around here. Also, no actual measures taken to reduce the risk of infection, it appears. In any case, Zoe Saldana points for effort in this film. She's obviously trying to do something. I don't know what it is she's trying to do. Her character's awful. She's a corrupt lawyer who takes millions of dollars from a drug cartel leader to cover up crimes and then later turns around and uncovers the crimes while lecturing people in another number. That number is called El Mal. And this is where Zoe Saldana really goes off in the film. She's dancing through a fundraiser because I say Emilia Pérez has decided that now, having come back to Mexico, she is going to be leading an effort to uncover the bodies of all those murdered by the drug cartels. So now, the lawyer for a drug cartel leader is running around the room yelling at all the politicians about how they're all corrupt while doing sexually suggestive things. That's essentially this number. The hypocrisy is amazing. And again, you might at some point say, well, wait, hold on. Isn't she evil? She works for a drug cartel leader. And isn't the drug cartel leader kind of evil? I mean, on every level, a drug cartel leader murdered people, abandoned his wife and children to go get a bunch of surgeries, then lied to his wife and children by bringing them back into his life to torture them, which we'll see in just a minute, emotionally. Here is Zoe Saldana in another awful number called El Mal. Look at Judge Santos. There's good music here, guys. Cares only about children. Cartels kidnap them, steal them from their villages. And Santos has their cases dismissed. No evidence. talk. All these people talk. But now they are going to pay. I have no idea who choreographed this. Choreography sucks. The lighting is terrible. The choreography is terrible. There is no music. You have the upper hand. Everyone knows you. No one knows me. This is the singing man pretending to be a woman. I'm Emilia Pérez, a Mexican woman. A woman like any other. Okay, and then it just continues. I can't take anymore. It's just awful. Just awful. Like immoral, bad. You're part of the system, lady. You took the money. You don't get to lecture. Okay, there's more on this in a moment. First, here is something fascinating. Until the 1990s, the U.S. government classified encryption as munitions. They literally categorized it alongside weapons. And you know what? They weren't totally wrong. Encryption is indeed quite powerful. It is your shield against those who would like to exploit your personal information online. That's why we use ExpressVPN. It's an elegant solution that encrypts your internet connection and routes it through secure servers, keeping your online activity private exactly the way it should be. I've been using ExpressVPN for years now. Honestly, I wouldn't go online without it. Think about it. Without encryption, your digital life is an open book. Your internet service provider can legally sell your browsing history. Data brokers track your every move across websites. Government agencies can peek into your online world, but here is the best part. ExpressVPN makes privacy simple. One tap, and when the app turns green, you're protected. It works across all devices, phones, laptops, tablets. A single subscription covers up to 8 devices. Encryption's a weapon. It's one that you have a legal right to use for your own protection. But it's up to you to exercise that right. If you decide to take action today, you can find out how you can get 4 months for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by heading on over to expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. Again, this entire film is built around the premise that if you are transgender and you go through surgeries, this makes you a good person and excuses all of your past and future behavior. Because let's talk about that behavior. Now, Emilia Pérez, who is a man who has transitioned into a fake woman and who's lying to her own children, about identity. There's a number where Emilia Pérez goes into the bedroom of one of her children, her, meaning his, and lies down next to this child that can't fall asleep. And the kid says, "You smell like my father." Okay, well, yeah, because you effed up that kid's life beyond all recognition. First of all, you're a drug lord. Second of all, you deprived that kid of a father so that you could play dress up. Plus, by the way, the lyrics absolutely suck in this particular number. I mean, really suck. I will explain why in just a moment. He says, "What are you doing?" And the kid says, "You smell like Papa."
Me gusta.
I love it.
¿Lo extrañas?
Sí. Papá. Hueles como
He says, "You smell like Papa. You smell like the mountains, leather and coffee. You smell like food. Spicy. And here is the man dressed up as a woman who has put his child through this, and we're supposed to be sympathetic to this person for some reason. This person's, by the way, by the end of this movie, this person is treated as a saint. Okay, now I'll tell you why the lyrics really suck here. I'm just going to list to you the things this person apparently smells like. Okay? And this kid is apparently like a super smeller, because here is what Papa smells like. In order: the mountains, leather, coffee, spicy food, sugar, lamb on the fire, the engine, Diet Coke with lemon ice and sweat. Also, little stones warmed by the sun, mint, mezcal, guacamole, dogs on car rides, cigarettes. I don't know. What? Okay, man. Tell you, who wrote this? This whole musical was written by a person who'd been hit in the head with a brick. My goodness. But all of this culminates in a heroic vision of the future. So, as we know, the Emilia Pérez's character falls in love with a woman, like an actual biological woman, played by Adriana Paz. And they have a whole love scene and everything. And at this point, you might be thinking to yourself, well, isn't that kind of... I mean, this obviously is a dude, meaning like a drug lord gang leader who has murdered people, maybe including this person's husband, and is currently having a sexual affair with the woman without explaining any of this. Isn't that a little... Like ladies in the audience, isn't that a little bit? But it's fine and good. now. It's actually excellent. And so by the end of this film, there is a full scene. The end of the film is a parade with a statue looking like the Virgin Mary of this trans woman, drug cartel leader, who engaged in mass murder and was never prosecuted for it, and betrayed his wife and children. And this person is a saint now, because that's how the politics work here. Because I dedicate this poem to the beloved, so loved, for a fleeting instant, to the woman of my nights. You mean, hey, dude? And I guess, the one who left at dawn, never speaking about herself. Yeah, because she was a dude and a drug cartel leader to boot. To she who drank from my fountains, whose mystery I miss. Marching with like a full-on saint statue of this person, like a distant star. Oh my God. Again, the whole thing, understand, this whole musical turns on one fundamental moral supposition. If you are a person with gender dysphoria and you cut off your genitals or have hormone surgery, this means all sins, past, present, and future, are wiped away. All of them. You can do anything to anyone at any time, and you are fully justified in doing so because you have found your identity. That's the thing that matters most. Actually, they kind of spell that out right in the musical. There is a song called Lady, again, another awful song. This one is performed by Zoe Saldana and a person named Mark Ivanier, who is playing Dr. Wasserman, the genital mutilation specialist, who is the transing doctor. And here is where Zoe Saldana explains the main thesis of the film. There we go.
Lady, you know, I only fix the body, skin, bones, but I will never fix the soul. If he's a he, she'll be a he. If he's a she, she'll be a she. If he's a wolf, she'll be a wolf. If he's the wolf, you'll be his sheep. Lady, I've been a doctor since I'm 24. I fight and fix, will never stop the war. My door is not God's door. Lady, will you please tell your Mr. Mystery, instead of having plastic surgery, he'd better change ID.
Doctor, I know you did a lot of studies. Doctor, but let me say I disagree.
Here we go. Here's the case.
Changing the body changes society. Changing society changes the soul. Changing the soul changes society. Changing society changes it all.
Okay, so that's the actual line, right? That's the actual line. That, sure, this person's still a drug cartel lord who's doing evil things, but it's not about this person. It's about society. Changing society changes the soul, which changes society, which changes the soul, which is circular, but it doesn't matter because bad music. Folks, it's absolutely awful, absolutely egregious. It will be the worst Best Picture winner since Shape of Water. I don't even know if this is worse than Shape. Man, that is a brutal decision. That is the Sophie's Choice of bad movies decisions. Like, which one? You're on a desert island, and you only can watch one of these two movies for the rest of time. Which one? Well, I mean, the third option is to drown yourself, and that may be preferable. Alrighty, so let's talk about the societal blowback from this film. Hilariously, the left is actually very, very upset about this film. There's always this weird thing that happens with the sort of woke Academy Award nominees. And that is, at the beginning, I was like, what's the wokest film? What is it? Show me the woke. Yes, we found it. I Screwed a Fish. That's the one. And then Green Book. And then like 2 weeks later, there starts to be a little bit of buyback, a little bit of heartburn. Like, is it as woke as it says it is? Maybe it's not woke enough. And that's happening with Emilia Pérez, which is a story about a Mexican drug lord turned trans woman saint hero lesbian. That's what the film is about. I wish I could give you a better log line. Not my fault. I didn't write this thing. If I had, it would look like Lady Ballers probably. In any case, there's a bunch of blowback. So some of the blowback involves the fact that Selena Gomez, who, I barely mentioned in that review because she barely is in the film. Selena Gomez is just an awful actress, truly a terrible actress. But it's not just that she can't act and also that she's not a very good singer. It's also that her Spanish apparently is awful. I have no way of evaluating the quality of her Spanish because my Spanish is even worse than hers. However, producer Savvy does speak Spanish, and she said basically it's not even discernible what she's doing with her Spanish. So here was Selena talking about her terrible Spanish.
I'm not as happy with what I feel like I could have done in Spanish, but overall, I hope that it doesn't hinder my performance, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. Perhaps I could have had more time with it, but I was full throttle, and I wanted to be a part of this so badly. So it was a challenge for me for sure.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Well, here's an example of her terrible Spanish.
¿Qué pasa, pendeja?
Está en la cajuela. Manitas. Está en la cajuela. Mi marido.
¿Qué?
En la cajuela. ¡Ah! ¡En el carro!
Aguas con eso. Aguas con esa madre, Jessie. Aguas con esa chingadera, hija. ¿Qué estás haciendo, Jessie?
¡Por favor!
Okay, I've been reliably informed that's terrible Spanish. Again, I wouldn't really have a way of knowing because my Spanish is also quite bad, but not great at all. Those who criticized her were, in fact, forced to apologize at the point of gun. There's an actor named Eugenio Derbez who had to apologize on TikTok. Quote, "I truly apologize for my careless comments. They are indefensible and go against everything I stand for. As Latinos, we should always support one another. There's no excuse. I was wrong, and I deeply admire your career and your kind heart. Emilia Pérez deserves to be celebrated, not diminished by my thoughtless remarks. I'm walking away from this with an important lesson learned." Yeah, shamed back into line, Eugenio Derbez, whoever the hell you are. I have no idea who you are. So that happened. Meanwhile, some people on the left were upset about the cultural appropriation because, as it turns out, this movie has basically no Mexicans in it and also was written by French people. So one person tweeted, "Emilia Pérez winning after the French director said he didn't care about doing research on Mexican culture." Okay. Yeah, that seems about right. Quote, "It's always cultural appropriation until the Latinos speak. You have a French production company, a French director and writers, and everyone's clapping while they accept awards in French because they don't know Spanish. Mind you, Mexico is the last country Emilia Pérez came out in. By the way, in Mexico, it's getting panned. People in Mexico hate this film. They think it's stupid. They think it's insulting. They are right. They are correct, even on the other side of the Trump wall." So, this film is receiving some blowback. Will it be enough to stop it? No, of course not. What are the other possible Academy Award nominees? They're not going to give it to Wicked. It's only Wicked Part 1. They're not going to give it to Dune Part 2, even though they should, because that was an actual fan favorite spectacle, and they can't do that. They can't do that. I mean, that would be silly. Give it to a movie that people actually liked and watched. Best Motion Picture Drama, they gave to The Brutalist. They separated in the Golden Globes that off from Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. So I guess that got put in the musical or in the comedy category. It might have been funny, I suppose. I could have seen that, maybe. In any case, the Best Picture nominees, if you follow this, will probably be The Brutalist, which is the Adrian Brody film that actually looks quite interesting, but is also about an expatriate Jew, so not this year. A Complete Unknown, that's the Bob Dylan movie, but people are enjoying that, so probably not. Conclave has a shot at it, because Conclave is also about transgenderism, this time in the Catholic Church. Spoiler alert, it turns out that the brand new pope actually is an intersex person. Yup, because Hollywood really understands Catholicism. They love it over there. Dune Part 2, which won't win. Nickel Boys, which frankly I'd never heard of. September 5th, I had not heard of yet either. Honora, which I understand is about a Russian prostitute who is married by a Russian mobster. Challengers, which is that Zendaya film, because she's in every film now. A Real Pain, The Substance, and Wicked. So yeah, I mean, from that list, Emilia Pérez is probably going to win, right? I mean, you would imagine. So I don't think the super woke blowback is going to end the woke charge to the finish line for Emilia Pérez. But what really should finish the film is that it sucks, and it's trash, and it's terrible. But it proves once again that if you have the right messaging, you can pretty much get distribution for anything in Hollywood, as we have all learned over the course of the last few years. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.